Welcome to the 2015 National Title Game. Duke is your champion for the fifth time under Mike Krzyzewski. I'm Pete Thamel with my colleague Seth Davis. And Seth, Duke down 9, about 10 minutes to go. How'd they pull it out?
Well, as I've been saying for weeks, it's going to come down to Grayson Allen. You heard me say that, right? We all said that. Truly remarkable that a player who did not even get in the game the first time that Duke beat Wisconsin in Madison was able to be the difference tonight and go on a personal 8-0 run when Duke was down by 9 points. So that kind of staunched the bleeding and got Duke back in the game. Then when I really thought closed the game, as well as Tyus Jones plays in those big daggers, Pete, you know Duke's defense was absolutely outstanding. They turned Wisconsin's water off, much like they did to Gonzaga in the regional final, much like they did to Michigan State in the first half of their semifinal. Somehow, along the way, Duke went from being a kind of a suspect defensive team to a great and championship-level defensive team.
And at the same time, Jahlil Okafor had a suspect game. He had really been invisible. He had only 6 points with about 5 minutes to go. He comes in, hits a shot for the and one, misses the free throw, but then comes down as a block on the other end, Seth, and talk about him being a difference maker down the stretch.
Yeah, well, his presence is always a distraction for the opponent. And I actually thought that if Grayson Allen was your surprise offensive MVP with Tyus Jones, I thought that Emil Jefferson was really valuable on the defensive end guarding Frank Kaminsky. Kaminsky still had a great game, but it could have been a lot better were it not for Emil Jefferson. In a lot of ways, Duke was actually better defensively with Jefferson on the court. But you're right, when Okafor came in with the 4 fouls and got that and one, it wasn't just the 2 points that he gave Duke. It was like, okay, now our best player is able to play these last 4 minutes. And Duke was, I thought, more physically fresh than Wisconsin down the stretch, and they were certainly more mentally tough.
A lot went wrong for Wisconsin to blow that lead. They obviously had some star players who had poor games. Their guard play was pretty much atrocious. Just talk a little bit about how the guard play of Wisconsin ultimately failed them tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty bad on both ends of the floor, to be honest. The fact that Trayvon Jackson first of all, the fact they took 7 shots is pretty astounding. He only made 1 of them. And then defensively, Wisconsin does a lot of going under those screens, and that is the way they play. They were 12th in the Big Ten this season in 3-point percentage defense, so they don't get out. But, Duke's guards sliced them up in Madison when they won the first game, and they were able to do it tonight. And I thought that Duke's ability not only coming around the screens with Wisconsin's defenders going underneath and then not settling for the jump shot and still being able to penetrate. Tyus Jones and Grayson Allen combined to make all 12 of their free throw attempts. So guard play was certainly a major factor on both ends of the floor.
And Tyus Jones may not be with us at the collegiate level much longer. 23 points tonight, most outstanding player of the Final Four. Do you think he comes back to Durham, Seth?
It really wouldn't shock me, Pete. I mean, it's interesting. I get to work with all these NBA guys on television, and we've been talking a lot about Tyus Jones.
Sure.
Is he? Some of these guys are saying, I'm not sure he's an NBA point guard, much less, a great NBA point guard. Now, I keep pointing out the kid is a freshman in college, so you can say, well, there's Kemba Walker, but he's better than Kemba Walker was his freshman year. He's better than I think Chris Paul was when Chris Paul was a freshman. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Chris Paul, but the fact is he is small. There you go. Okay, safe to say. Not as good as Steph Curry either, would you say? It would not shock me to see Tyus Jones come back, but obviously tonight is going to have to be part of the process of his making that decision.
I think 5 years ago he might have come back. I think the culture has changed. I think agent involvement in AAU has changed things. I think these kids are almost programmed. We're coming back to college as a failure. Jeff Capel told me that this week in writing about Quinn Cook and how his career kind of had to come back because guys that stay in college too long, they're looked at like they have the cooties.
Yeah, no question. It's I think that Tyus Jones, he has a very tight circle and a very close family. I think they'll make the right decision for him and for that family. I would not be shocked if he came back for his sophomore year.
I think he's gone.
There you have it.